Hey guys, this is Albert. Um, it's a quick video on introduction to SQ7. I bought this mixer about 3 months ago. My previous mixer, which was the Studio Life from PreSonus, it broke down like in less than a year. And then I was reviewing, and this one had great comments. And even though it was expensive, I still bought it. And it turned out to be a great buy, just a fabulous mixer, lots of capabilities. I'm still basically exploring it, but it's been worth the money that I spent. So this video, I'm hoping, is also particularly helpful for those who are making the transition from analog to digital. And I think so. A few things to note over there is that the workflow is quite different between analog and digital. So with analog, you will have basically each channel having its own controls, like the gain settings and EQ and stuff like that. But with digital and the specific one SQ7, the way it works is, even though you may have some dedicated controls, but largely you change that to a common set of controls, and we will see that. Okay, so the way this works is you hit the start button behind the power button, and you'll see that boot up sequence happening. And once that finishes, you'll see the control panel come on, the lights come on. It looks quite beautiful. And so few things to note. So these are all the labels for the channel, and you can basically name it or even color code it. It's quite useful. And like I was saying earlier, the way you play with these is basically you select, like for example, this channel. This is my mic, and I select this channel, and when I do that, you have the visual representation of all the channels show up. And so to make any changes to them, you just select the one that you want. So this one was the one that I wanted. I select this. And then you see the controls that show up after that. So the phantom power, which is this, is basically included with all the channels. So you just hold it for a few seconds, it goes on. And then let's say you want to change the gain setting. So I select the gain control over there, and then I use this knob to turn it up and down. Okay, so that's what I mean, where you have to select all these channels, and then for the whichever one you want, and then you use these the knobs over here, which is compressor and gain and whatnot stuff, and then you make the changes that way. And then if you want to change the name or color code it, press that control over there, and then you can name it or color code it accordingly. In terms of output, so input is straightforward. It has like, I think, 32, and then if you include a digital snake, it expands. I think it's like 64 more. Also for output, it has several different ports. So one thing that you may want to do immediately when you start this is, once you plug in all your equipment, you want to obviously hear them, right? And so if you want to send that to your front of house audience, you could use the port number 11 and 12, which is these two. That's sort of hardwired to send the main mix to front of house. And then some other things, the other out. So you have, this is the headphone out, obviously for your headphones. But then one thing I noted was that this mixer did not have a control room out, which is what I was used to in the previous mixer. So what I did to get around that was basically use a quick hack. And what I did was I sent the headphone out into a headphone amp, which is like a splitter basically, and I use that for the same hack for my in-ear monitoring setup as well. And so you can see all these cables that go to the individual in-ear setup or headphones, and one of them goes to this headphone, which I can use to monitor, but it also goes to my control room monitors, studio monitors, just the Cali brand. And so that's all controlled through this. And the hack is actually quite useful even in other cases. For example, if I'm doing actual recording, all the output that goes from the mixer through that headphone out is all pre-fade. And that's exactly what also goes to the DAW. So there is a USB out in the mixer that you can connect to your PC or your Mac. And then the signals that go into your DAW, they are all pre-fade. And so if you want to listen to exactly what's going into your DAW through your monitor, studio monitors, this is how I got it done. So all of that out that goes from the headphone out is all pre-fade. So I'm able to listen while I'm recording, and also when I'm editing, this is after the recording, I can send the out from my DAW into my studio monitor. So that was a pretty useful trick. But the other way to make this happen is you have the other outs. And so what you could do, for example, this is where the versatility of sending any input to any output. So you could have your front of house mix going through this LR, which is the main mix. And then you could use, let's say, the other two outs from here. And you probably cannot see it, but down there I have a couple more outs. And I've set it in such a manner that the mix one, all of the settings from mix one is going into those other outs. So basically, you can have it set up in a way that you have multiple outputs and they don't interfere with each other. And then one thing to note is the baffle button, which stands for pre or after fade listen. Just make sure to select that to be able to hear from the headphones or the control room monitors. And I think by default you can select only one, but if you go and change the settings, you can select multiple at one time. So that's basically it. I think my hope is that this is good enough for you to just basically get started and hit the ground running. And if you have any feedback or comments, feel free to put it down there. Okay, thank you for listening and happy mixing.